Hi, welcome to She Spice. At any point, can't help thinking about why Mark Wahlberg is the muscle-bound film industry. Titan unexpectedly is by all accounts under the spotlight, however, not in the manner you'd expect. Well, it seems to be Hollywood's Tip Top has tracked down their next target, and as a matter of fact, the baffling Keanu Reeves is here to spill the tea. You know, to begin to ponder in those ways furthermore. To ponder fleetingness. You. Everlasting status that is correct people can you is pulling back the drapery on the genuine motivation behind why Marky Imprint's been avoiding something beyond paparazzi recently, and trust us, in all actuality, more hazardous than any activity flick, so what's? As a matter of fact, happening in the background lock in as we jump into the crazy universe of Hollywood strategic maneuvers, secret openings, and why Mark Wahlberg may very well be the following huge name to confront the intensity when huge names like Diddy and Jay-Z thought of themselves as in high temp water. It truly shook the business out of nowhere. Everybody began talking, saying this sort of stuff had been going on everlastingly. Imprint Wahlberg, even told and getting down on the business. Poisonous culture. What's more, individuals are contemplating whether that is the reason he moved back from everything. Imprint Wahlberg has genuinely continued on from his rapper days. He's making an effort not to cover his past, yet he's most certainly telling fans to relax and simply snicker at his old music recordings. Truth be told, in a 2016 talk with Men's Wellness, he said, "I glance back at it presently, and I'm similar to what in blazes was I doing, no doubt about it." He's not precisely glad for it, however. He's cool with where he's at now. It's actually all the botches. It's every one of the disappointments. It's everything the misfortunes that cause you to comprehend and develop. And just ideally get it right. The following time around, previously Mark Wahlberg turned into an institute grant, chosen one he was carrying on with something else entirely. Life in those days, he wasn't known as Imprint Wahlberg, yet as Marky Imprint, driving the crazy bundle and dropping tracks as a graph-beating rapper, that's right. Before he turned into a Hollywood heavyweight. Imprint was becoming famous in the music world with an enormous hit added to his repertoire. To truly comprehend how Marky Imprint blew up in the music scene, you must rewind to the 1980s. That is the point at which he first ventured into the spotlight as an early individual from one of the greatest teen pop groups of the time. It was 10 years before he soars to acclaim, setting the stage for his possible takeover of the diversion world in the beginning of New Children on the Block. Imprint Wahlberg was essential for the bunch close by his sibling Donnie. It was a charming setup, yet it wasn't the one that would happen to sell a large number of records in the long run. Imprint left the gathering, and when the exemplary setup was set, newcomers broke out incredibly. During the last part of the 80s and mid-90s, newcomers totally ruled the music scene, putting out many hits and soaring to super fame. They were wherever on the diagrams, in stores as toys, on a committed hotline, and, surprisingly, in their own energized series, their impact was monstrous, making them a social peculiarity on one individual. Mark is exceptionally well-spoken, yet he was continuously entertaining. I actually never dug his work to be straightforward, yet the thing is, now that I'm more seasoned, I'm figuring out how to appreciate a part of things that life's amusing like that. As the years go by, I see a great deal of that from him. He knows he's extremely fortunate to be so honored while the band was writing excellent grade. Wahlberg was caught up with chipping away at his rap game, hanging tight for his opportunity to sparkle. That opportunity at long last came when a recognizable face helped send off Marky Imprint into the spotlight. Once he hit the spotlight, there was no thinking back. Marky Imprint was en route to turning into a commonly recognized name, all that and back. And, Boogie Nose 2 Burt Reynolds keeps getting me and tearing the cosmetics doing that scene where I'm telling him is my imprint. Wahlberg has chosen to pull back from his rap vocation since he didn't feel positive about his capacities, notwithstanding scoring a few top 10 hits on the Billboard Hot 100. He wasn't happy with his abilities as a rapper. Furthermore, he decided to move his concentration to acting, despite the fact that he had a few major triumphs in the rap game. Wahlberg eventually left that way behind to focus on his completely new profession in Hollywood. Thinking back, Wahlberg here and there thinks about how various his life could have been in the event that he had stayed with his unique intent to be a full-time rapper. He acquired major prevalence with hits like Great Vibrations and was a major name during the 9S rap scene. However, he in the end made a fruitful change to acting presently. Even with every one of his achievements in film, Wahlberg infrequently thinks about what could have been, assuming he had continued to rap, envisioning how his profession could have unfurled on that unique way. Your response to Father Stu: those are the things that is, my prize for the work that we, while Mark Wahlberg was progressing to Hollywood, Eminem was making his presentation. What's more, in the end became quite possibly of the best rappers ever. A re-emerged interview with IGN as of late raised a question about this. Wahlberg was inquired as to whether he figured he might have been on Eminem's level in the event that he hadn't ventured away from rap. Wahlberg's reaction was, "Could I have been Eminem? I unquestionably would like to think, not I like Eminem. I believe Eminem's, as a matter of fact, skilled, yet I'm attempting to go a totally unique street." He further cited saying that he and Eminem have totally various preferences. "I love my mother." Man, are you insane? No, I can't be an awful effect on anyone yet. I think there's something else to what he does besides that. There's surely a shock esteem that has somewhat gotten him to a certain place yet. The person has a ton of ability. It's simply you realize I came from the genuine thing, and I was attempting frantically to move away from that, even despite the fact that imprint Wahlberg's music vocation didn't end up as he had at first arranged. He has no laments about involving it as a type of self articulation anyway, when examination fired springing up among him and Eminem, for the most part due to their common white foundations and Eminem's tempestuous past. Wahlberg wasn't a fan. He effectively moved away from those affiliations, detesting being an on-scene as an entertainer. Shock esteem. Rather, Wahlberg needed to zero in on conveying significant messages through his work. He expected to keep away from contention and, on second thought, tried to make a positive influence, ensuring his commitment resounded with the two pundits and fans. The same for Wahlberg. Everything revolved around substance and leaving an enduring positive impression with his craft, regardless of the expected riches and notoriety that a comparative way could have brought. Imprint Wahlberg picked an alternate vocation direction. Uninterested in taking a course that includes public showdowns and discussions, he moved his concentration to acting. Rather, Wahlberg looked for progress in an industry that permitted him to communicate his thoughts, contrastingly adjusting more with his inclinations and values. Wahlberg proceeded to say, "No, I love my mother." Man, are you insane? No, I can't have a terrible effect on anyone, yet I think there's something else to what he does. Besides that, there's positively a shock esteem that has somewhat gotten him to a certain place, yet the person has a great deal of ability. It's simply that you realize I came from the genuine thing, and I was attempting frantically to move away from that. I'm attempting to fill in as hard as conceivable to be the best individual I can be to everyone. Wahlberg detail. I mean, my confidence and the affection that I have in my heart are something that I need to offer. And spreading doings to get compensated is not okay, since I genuinely accept it is very challenging for a rich man to get into paradise. You understand what they say. It's simpler for a camel to go through the opening of a needle than it is for a rich man to overcome the doors of paradise. Imprint Wahlberg made a definitive getaway from the music business. Previously, his profession got the opportunity to take completely off, eventually ending up being an effective choice over the long haul. Wahlberg, now recognized as one of the most generously compensated entertainers of his age, left behind a long-term agreement with his record organization, rendering him incapable of protecting portrayal with another name until that legally binding responsibility closed. This legally binding limitation turned into the impetus for change in Wahlberg's profession, prompting his takeoff from the music business. Considering his choice, Wahlberg referred to the difficulties he faced in the music world because of his relationship with his siblings' gathering and his upset past. In a meeting with IGN, he made sense and exaggerated his hesitance to follow the normal practice among rappers of straightforwardly talking about their upset foundations to support their vocations. Wahlberg decided not to advance his upset past, underscoring an alternate way to deal with his public picture and imaginative articulation. Wahlberg continued saying, "Then when it came out, it was like, gracious, this youngster is a beast, so acting was the last thing I needed to do. I was put in a situation by my record organization and sort of pushed toward a path that I didn't have any desire to go down, clearly for their monetary advantage. So I said I was going to endure my agreement, which would have required 6 years as opposed to holding up a long-term agreement or delivering collections that didn't line up with his imaginative vision. Imprint Wahlberg made a profession turn into an entertainer anyway. This doesn't altogether preclude the plausibility of Wahlberg making a return to the hip jump scene. He has recognized that under the right conditions, he may be available to rapping again. "Give me 2 days to practice," Wahlberg expressed. "I can simply get once again into the swing of things. I want to simply hear it and feel it." Currently in the wake of leaving the rapping, he got into acting and business. And when we subscribe She Spice for more videos.